The Battle of Palembang was a battle of the Pacific theater of World War II. It occurred near Palembang, on Sumatra, on 13 to 15 February 1942. The Royal Dutch Shell oil refineries at nearby Plaju were the major objectives for the Empire of Japan in the Pacific War. Because of an oil embargo imposed on Japan by the United States, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, with the area's abundant fuel supply and airfields, Palembang offered significant potential as a military base to both the Allies and the Japanese. Prelude. In January, the American, British, Dutch, Australian command decided to concentrate Allied air forces in Sumatra at two airfields near Palembang, Pangkalan Benteng, also known as P1, and a secret airbase at Prabu Muli, or P2. The British Royal Air Force created No. 225 Group at Palembang. It included two Royal Australian Air Force squadrons and a large number of Australians serving with British squadrons. The group could only muster 40 Bristol Blenheim bombers and 35 Lockheed Hudson light bombers. The Blenheims had flown from the Middle East and Egypt, where they were considered too old to cope with newer German and Italian fighters. No. 226 Group AF also arrived at Palembang in early February. Two squadrons of Hawker Hurricanes transported to Sumatra by the aircraft carrier HMS Indomitable. They were joined by the remnants of British, Australian and Royal New Zealand Air Force Hurricane and Brewster Buffalo squadrons, which had both inflicted and suffered heavy losses in intense air battles over the Malayan and Singapore campaigns. The Royal Netherlands East Indies Army South Sumatra Island Territorial Command, its command in the Palembang area, consisted of about 2,000 troops under Lieutenant Colonel L. N.W. Vogeli Zhang. The South Sumatra Garrison Battalion and a Stadswat Landstorm Infantry Company in Palembang, a Stadswat Landstorm Infantry Company in Jambi, as well as various artillery and machine gun units. The Royal Netherlands Navy was represented by the Mijnlaer Pro Patria and the patrol boats P-38 and P-40 on the Musi River. Battle. Airborne attack. While the Allied planes attacked the Japanese ships on 13 February, Kawasaki Ki-56 transport planes of the 1st, 2nd and 3rd Chartai, Imperial Japanese Army Air Force, dropped Taishan Shudan paratroopers over Pangkalan Benteng Airfield. At the same time, Mitsubishi Ki-21 bombers from the 98th Sentai dropped supplies for paratroopers. The formation was escorted by a large force of Nakajima Ki-43 fighters from the 59th and 64th Sentai. As many as 180 men from the Japanese 2nd Parachute Regiment, under Colonel Seiichi Kume, dropped between Palembang and Pangkalan Benteng, and more than 90 men came down west of the refineries at Plaju. Although the Japanese paratroopers failed to capture the Pangkalan Benteng airfield, at the Plaju oil refinery they managed to gain possession of the entire complex, which was undamaged. A makeshift counter-attack by landstorm troops and anti-aircraft gunners from Prabu Muli managed to retake the complex but took heavy losses. The planned demolition failed to do any serious damage to the refinery, but the oil stores were set ablaze. 2 hours after the first drop, another 60 Japanese paratroopers were dropped near Pangkalan Benteng Airfield. On 14 February, the surviving Japanese paratroopers advanced to the Musi, Saling and Telang rivers, near Palembang. Amphibious assault. The main Japanese invasion force, an amphibious assault fleet under Vice Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa of the Imperial Japanese Navy, was on its way from Cam Bay in French Indochina. It was made up of the Imperial Japanese Army's 229th Infantry Regiment and 1 battalion from the 230th Infantry Regiment. A small advance party set out 8 transports escorted by the light cruiser Sendai and 4 destroyers. The main force followed in 14 transports, escorted by the heavy cruiser Chokai and 4 destroyers. The covering force included the aircraft carrier Rajor, 4 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser and 3 destroyers. Additional air cover was provided by land-based IJN planes in the IJAAF 3rd Air Division. On the morning of the 13th of February, a riverboat commandeered by the British Royal Navy, HMS Leewoo, under Lieutenant Thomas Wilkinson, ferrying personnel and equipment between Singapore and the Dutch East Indies, ran into the Japanese fleet. Although Leewoo was armed only with a 4-inch gun and 2 machine guns, its crew fired at the Japanese troop transport ships, setting one on fire and damaging several others, while under fire from the Japanese cruisers. This action continued for 90 minutes until the Leewoo ran out of ammunition. Wilkinson then ordered the ramming of the nearest transport, before his ship was destroyed by Japanese fire. Wilkinson received a posthumous Victoria Cross, the highest award for gallantry in the British Commonwealth, and the only VC awarded in the Dutch East Indies campaign. On 15 February, an ABDA naval force of 5 cruisers, HNLMS De Ruyter, HNLMS Java and HNLMS Tromp, HMS Exeter, HMAS Hobart and 10 destroyers, under Admiral Carol Dorman, made an abortive attempt to intercept the Japanese force. Planes from Rajor and land-based aircraft made a series of attacks on the Allied ships, forcing them to withdraw to the south of Sumatra. As the Japanese landing force approached Sumatra, the remaining Allied aircraft attacked it, and the Japanese transport ship Ottawa Maru was sunk. Hurricanes flew up the rivers, machine-gunning Japanese landing craft. However, on the afternoon of the 15th of February, all Allied aircraft were ordered to Java, where a major Japanese attack was anticipated, and the Allied air units had withdrawn from southern Sumatra by the evening of the 16th of February 1942. Other personnel were evacuated via Rosehaven by ships to Java or India.